A couple of things to note before the start of this video and the start of this topic. First thing is that there's going to be no music in this video. Somebody suggested that they prefer it to not have music, so let me know whether you guys like music in these videos in the background or you don't like it. Just keep me updated on that. Second thing is I've partnered up with a group of friends and we have a new channel called Spielco Entertainment. On this channel there's going to be me talking about sports and a few of my friends playing video games. Sometimes I'll be playing video games with them, so if you guys want to see me do something that isn't talking about football or playing Madden, definitely go check out that channel. I'll be playing games like Call of Duty, Grand Theft Auto, and a few other games in between. There's only one video on there right now, and it's me talking about the new XFL League, so if you want to go check that out, go look at the icon in the top right as well as the description. Now, today's video, we are talking about Jimmy Garoppolo. He got paid a 5-year deal, $137 million, I believe, with $90 million guaranteed. Now, what does this mean for the rest of the quarterback market? Well, and what does this mean for the 49ers? What are they going to do? Well, the 49ers had a lot of cap space. They still have, I believe, $77 million left in cap space, even after the Jimmy Garoppolo deal. Now, as I said, $90 million in guarantees. I believe he gets that in his first 3 years of the contract. So that's pretty crazy. But if you're the 49ers, it's actually pretty good considering you have your franchise guy. You know, you have your franchise quarterback at least for the next 5 years. Obviously, you can sign him to a future contract later. But what does this mean for all the quarterbacks who have upcoming contract negotiations? Well, first things first is Kirk Cousins is going to get paid a insane amount of money, probably going to get paid around $30 million a year. Jimmy Garoppolo is now the richest player in the NFL. He has the richest contract, but that's not going to last long. You have Drew Brees who needs a contract. You have Kirk Cousins who needs a contract. You have some other quarterbacks who need contracts as well. This is just going to bump up the quarterback market value. You have Case Keenum, you have Teddy Bridgewater, Kirk Cousins, Sam Bradford, Drew Brees, like I just stated. You know, there's a lot of quarterbacks who need a lot, who are going to get a lot of money. So this really has shifted the quarterback market yet again. Aaron Rodgers is going to eventually need to re-sign. Matt Ryan's going to eventually need to re-sign. I do believe they're in the last years of their deal. So it's going to be pretty ridiculous. These contracts are going to just keep on getting more and more ridiculous. And that's expected. The Washington Redskins, you know, just to talk about them real quick, it looks like they got Alex Smith for a pretty decent deal. I believe he's making less money. Alex Smith is making less money than Jimmy Garoppolo right now. Yeah, I know he is. Actually, yes, I know he is. What am I talking about? Jimmy Garoppolo is the highest paid quarterback in the league right now. And Alex, you know, makes the Redskins deal look great for them, I guess. But what does this mean? Well, the quarterback, as I said, the quarterback market's going to be insane. Kirk Cousins is going to get so much money from whatever team he goes to. Probably not going to be the Browns, maybe the Broncos if they create enough cap space by getting rid of some guys like Demaryius Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders, and a couple of other guys, Aqib Talib, they'll save a lot of money on if they decide to get rid of him, which they probably will. So Kirk Cousins is going to get an insane amount of money. I don't know what kind of money Drew Brees is going to get, because he doesn't have much time left in his career. You know, Kirk Cousins is kind of still in that franchise guy type money. You know, that type of contract where you can sign him to a 5-year deal worth however much. So it'll be pretty interesting. For the 49ers, though, what does this mean? Well, you have your franchise guy for the next 5 years. Jimmy Garoppolo's only had, I believe, 7 starts, and he's the highest paid player, period, in the league. That's pretty interesting, if I do say so myself, but the 49ers paid a second-round pick for the guy. They obviously believe in him. And, you know, you gotta pay your franchise quarterback, you know. Quarterback's obviously the most important position in football. And he's going to be that guy now, you know. 49ers, they got their guy locked up for the next 5 years. You can only hope that it works out. Jimmy Garoppolo is still undefeated as a starter, so that's a good sign. He hasn't played terrible, I believe. But it'll it'll be interesting to see. They still have a lot of money. They have a young kind of core defense that you can really build around. So if you get some pieces on offense to surround Jimmy Garoppolo with, maybe specifically improve that offensive line. I know Joe Staley's getting a little bit older, as well as some some other players on that offense. You need a couple of weapons now for Jimmy Garoppolo. Maybe re-sign Carlos Hyde, or maybe let him hit free agency. I honestly don't know, but they have a lot of money to work with. You have man, I can't remember his name. He's a linebacker. Rashid Hagman, I think his name is. It might be Rashid Hagman. I can't remember. But you have him. You have DeForest Buckner. You have Eric Armstead. You have Tank Carradine, as well as a few other guys. You got rid of Navarro Bowman, which, I liked that move. Saved some money. You have Eric Reed, Jimmy Ward. Is his name Eric Reed? I believe so. You kind of need to improve that secondary a little bit, but I think that's doable, especially in this free agency class. You can also improve on running back, I believe, as well. If Le'Veon Bell hits the market, that'd be insane. You have the money and the draft capital here. You also have, not to mention their draft pick Solomon Thomas that they got. And you got some picks from that too. So I really like what the 49ers are doing. They're a popular team, obviously. A lot of analysts are liking them, and they're going to need to have a knockout offseason. I think they're capable of doing that. Obviously, John Lynch is the general manager there now, and you got to get offensive weapons. You got to get some help in the secondary. I do believe your linebackers and defensive line you can work with them. And I don't believe you need help at safety that much. I think Eric Reed and I think his name's Jaquan Tart. Those two are very good safeties. So you just need some help at cornerback, and you need some new wide receivers. I like Goodwin, Marquise Goodwin, I believe his name is. I like him. You can work with him. Trent Taylor, I believe they have as well. So it's they don't have the best options at wide receiver. I'm actually gonna look up Marquise Goodwin real quick just to make sure, because just to make sure. Is it Goodwin? He's, to me, a Goodwin. Yep, okay, it was Marquise Goodwin. Good. So yeah, you have Marquise Goodwin. That's good for like maybe a slot guy, but you need a 1 and a 2. There's some interesting names out there in free agency. You have Jordan Matthews, I believe, is 1, depending on who else gets released. You have a couple of other guys who are going to be out there. Jarvis Landry's a big name who you could possibly bring in. That dude gets volume for days. That dude's gets tons of catches. So it'll be pretty interesting to see. It's not a great wide receiver market, but I think you could get a decent 2 at least. And maybe you draft a 1 in the draft. You went 6 and 10 last season. You have a decent pick. The wide receiver class this year isn't great, but it's not terrible, but none of them are expected to go super early. So maybe you can draft a wide receiver or 2 in the early rounds. Maybe you trade for one. You have some more draft picks from the Bears trade whenever they traded up to get Trubisky, and you still got Solomon Thomas. So really, the 49ers team is in a pretty decent position. You can get maybe a solid 2 in free agency, maybe a 1 if you really want to stretch it, a fringe 1 if you really want to stretch some of these free agents, or if you really just want to go for Jarvis Landry and maybe somebody else. I'm blanking on names right now on who's going to hit the free agent market. But, if you, maybe, even if you retain Carlos Hyde, like, Carlos Hyde isn't a bad running back at all. I think he'd do pretty well with a decent offensive line. So really look for the 49ers to, if you're the 49ers, you got to fix your offensive line a little bit. They're getting older, or they're just not playing that well. So fix that offensive line, get some secondary pieces, specifically cornerback. I think you're good at safety, you're good at linebacker, and you're good at defensive line for sure. They have one of the better younger defensive lines in the league, in my opinion. But really now your goal is to just build around Jimmy Garoppolo, get some targets for him, get him some protection, and get him some just general help on offense, and I really think you'd be rolling. So overall, I like this contract extension. It does bump up the quarterback market a big deal, a great deal. Kirk Cousins is going to get paid a lot of money. He might even make $30 million a year, honestly. Like, that might happen. And Drew Brees is probably going to get some money. Not to mention Aaron Rodgers and Matt Ryan, they're also going to get some money. So it's just setting the market standard again for the quarterback position. But all in all, I like the move. You got to pay your franchise guy, and I feel Jimmy Garoppolo could be a franchise guy. You certainly could have worse options, you know. And if you let Jimmy hit free agency, then you know it would have been pretty bad. Because what do you do? Because you know you probably couldn't. Where you're sitting at the draft, you probably couldn't get a quarterback. Probably. At least one of the ones like you could get a quarterback, but he might not be that good. You don't know, so like you kind of have at least a semi-proven option, and you don't have to get into a bidding war with Kirk Cousins, because quite frankly, Kirk Cousins is going to be making more than Jimmy Garoppolo anyway. So I like the move for the San Francisco 49ers. 49ers fans or just general NFL fans, what do you think about the contract extension? What does this mean for the rest of the quarterback market? I know a lot of guys on here are Bucs fans. What do you think this means for Jameis Winston? His contract runs out after next season. Do you think he's going to get around this type of money if he plays well? I think he probably would. I don't think he's going to be the highest paid quarterback, but I think he'll get some pretty good money. And I think that a lot of quarterbacks have leverage now, and I think Jameis Winston's one of them, and a lot of quarterbacks that have running out contracts. So what do you guys think about this deal? I personally like it, but let me know down in the comments section below. Don't forget to check out the new channel that I have called Spielco. It's going to be in the eye icon on the top right of the screen. And yeah, that's it for this video, guys. I hope you all enjoyed, and as always, I will see you in the next video, but until then, goodbye for now, guys.